Holy, this trial is getting spicy and it's supposed to go through all the way next week. So, like I said before in a couple of the previous videos, I'm going to have to do some catch up over the weekend. I'll invent some time to do that. But considering you guys like the coverage of this trial, mostly because, like I said yesterday, you might have missed that one. Okay, my Thursday release schedule was all borked up. But at least, you know what, hey, if you want to catch this today, more than likely you do because, well, Gwyneth took the stand and had some absurd claims to be made. It's like, no, it all does check out regardless of how spurgy it actually is, but I have to go back and really immerse myself in this trial a little bit. But before we get to Paltrow taking the stand, there are in fact a couple of other witnesses and experts that did take the stand today. But one of the other weird stories to pop out of this as well, it's like, okay, so we've seen some pictures from inside the courtroom, right? And Gwyneth is just sitting there looking either stone-faced or, you know, just uninterested or above the entire proceedings of the courtroom. But now, I guess she's just trying to buy some likability by trying to bring treats for the bailiffs. It's like, what are you doing, bro? It's like, okay, at least if we can draw analogies to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, because I think it's a fairly congruent parallel, mostly due to what Gwyneth was saying on the stand today in regards to sexual violence, but we'll get there when we get there. Like, Johnny Depp's team was apparently, you know, at least cordial, nice with the different court clerks that were there, just, really ingratiated themselves to it, the entire system that is, because they're all from outside of town, right? So that makes sense, but these weird, like 1950s, okay, we need to go introduce ourselves to our new neighbors, so bake a cake broad. It's like, I don't really know if that's really all that congruent, but knowing this, you know, Ice Queen, it was probably like, I don't know, just buy the plebs a box of donuts. Not the expensive ones, just go down to Dunkin' Donuts, whatever's there, and just bring them. I've got my own Perrier, and make sure that the glare from the camera does not get in my way. She's just so goddamn unlikable. But, yeah, if I was the defense, I'd be like, yo, she's trying to buy some special treatment. She's trying to ingratiate herself. It's almost like everybody else forgot about she was looking for super special treatment when it came to having cameras in the courtroom. Like, it's not really gonna cut it, and these people are professionals, like actual professionals. This is what they do for a living. She just makes pretend and tries to weave a story. But without further ado, man, we got some groundwork to lay. So the central debate of this, and shout out once again to Daily Mail for just having a really good rundown of events on the day. So, on the Utah ski slopes, Deer Valley Ski Resort in Utah, and holy crap, like, it's finally starting to turn spring here in my neck of the woods in northern Alberta, but it was snowing there this morning. Holy, that sucks, but it was probably a hell of a lot warmer. But anyways, yeah, on the Utah ski slopes, the skier who is downhill has a right of way. Okay, this means whoever is higher up on the ski run must be careful of those below. That's also a universal, right? Because you don't have eyes in the back of your head and you're trying to maneuver in a way so that you don't hit any upcoming obstacles. So the person who's in front, you need to make sure that your safety is taken care of first, and then the person who's uphill can take a look at the bottom of the hill and assess if it's appropriate for them to proceed, because that's how gravity works. I just don't know what Hollywood pseudo fame, how that works into everything, but I'm sure Gwyneth will get into it when we recap her testimony. Sheesh. Central debate of this case is over who should have seen who. Well, we seen the illustration yesterday, and the one that I used in that kind of slapped together thumbnail. Not really all that, you know, happy with it, but it fucking works for the time being. We're moving on. Paltrow's claim is that Sanderson plowed into the back of her. Interesting. We'll get to that for a second. Well, Sanderson says it was the actress who smacked into his back. Yeah, that's very interesting because there were more medical experts. The first one that I seen today was there was a new doctor out there that said Sanderson could have only been hit from behind. We heard from, yes, the doctor that broke down the broken ribs yesterday that, no, that type of injury is congruent with somebody being hit from behind and being compressed from the front. That would make sense. If you're hitting somebody and only, was it the left side of the body? Or, no, the right four ribs, right? Yeah. those get broken, shit don't really work like that unless, you know, you're doing a big Ricky the Dragon Steamboat crossbody off the top rope. Doesn't really, you know, it's not really all of that parallel of a comparison to make or an analogy to pull if you're on the ski slopes. On Thursday, jurors heard testimony from Dr. Richard Bowen, right, who said Sanderson's injuries could have only been caused by being struck from behind, ladies. He was hit by somebody from the side and from behind. That makes sense if you're turning or in the midst of a turn to get out of the way, and then bang. And bear in mind that that person landed on him. People who fall don't get rib injuries. It takes something else. Yeah, exactly, because you've got a bunch of defense mechanisms, even if your feet are affixed to skis, even though they're supposed to break away whenever you fall too far forward so that you don't break an ankle or anything like that. So that's what would have happened there. But also, if you're getting hit, your immediate reaction is going to be, you know, to brace yourself for impact. So yeah, exactly. Like, you could have your arms underneath of you, which I don't know if that's their allegation so far, but yeah, that could have caused the crash. But simply, you might, at worst, if this would have been somebody falling and tumbling down the hill, maybe a dislocated shoulder, you know, if they're just coming in and, oh God, just trying to stop and stabilize themselves from further tumbling down the hill, but that's just not what happened. Anyways, if you had the choice between Mr. Sanderson hitting Ms. Paltrow or Ms. Paltrow hitting Mr. Sanderson, you would have to pick Miss Paltrow hitting Mr. Sanderson from behind and falling on top of him to account for the rib fractures. Yeah, but no. If you were to compare the two scenarios, there's only one scenario that would account for enough force application to fracture those ribs, and that would be Ms. Paltrow striking Mr. Sanderson from behind and falling on the ground. In essence, he was like a cushion, if you will. All right, Sanderson's doctor says Sanderson's brain isn't functioning as it did before the accident. So this is, you could argue it's cumulative, because that's basically what the two experts yesterday were talking about. The 80s game show host coupled with the doctor with the horseshoe haircut, as well as the little Chinese lady as well, talking about neuropsychology. But here we have, yes, neurologist Richard Bowen. All right, and continued on from yesterday. So what did he talk a little bit yesterday? Who yesterday said Sanderson's injuries could have only been caused from the impact from behind. So yes, reiterating that one more time, making it, it's a good tactic, right? You just have him cap off Thursday and then you bring it back for the jury on Friday to really drive home the point that yes, he was talking about that yesterday, and then it's the first thing that he talks about today. It's probably fairly important, so keep that in the back of your mind. And yeah, like I said before, it was snowing outside, and I don't know, she looks like she's there to audition for the for a Doors cover band. Like, I don't really know, man. Okay, so skier who claims Paltrow hit her suffered vision problems, actress's lawyers say. Well, okay, in his account of the events, his vision problems wouldn't have played a factor at all. But again, if this is a seasoned skier in and of himself, Dr. Terry Sanderson, and he had vision problems, you can get prescription goggles if you're going to be on the hill all that frequently. So, okay, Sanderson had vision problems before the 2016 crash. Well, he was also an optometrist, so he also had the inside track on getting that really taken care of. So, okay, Dr. Richard Bohm, a neurologist, was asked whether he was aware of Sanderson's vision problems. Well, just because you guys say something doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Can you provide any reports or anything like that? He responded that Sanderson's eyesight was irrelevant because you don't have to have vision in the back of your head. Yeah, exactly. No, but he plowed into her, even though she didn't have any injuries. Yeah, okay, sure, wonderful, fantastic. Location of broken rib, a telltale sign the skier was struck from behind, the doctor said. Yeah, it's just reiterating stuff. Sanderson's relative says he's a very strong skier because, yeah, no, that would all check out, at least with my theory, which is kind of his theory. Ex-Navy pilot Mark Heareth, the brother of Sanderson's son-in-law. That's a funny connection. But anyways, yeah, there's a reason that you bring in a former enlisted man, because unless they were dishonorably discharged, it always looks good to have somebody who was once defended the integrity of the country come to the stand, and he's immediately afforded a certain air of credibility to him. Harith described Sanderson as a very strong skier who he has never worried about on the mountains until some entitled Oscar winner came down the hill going, "I'm famous!" Tunk. Prior to his accident, he said he had never noticed Sanderson being forgetful, describing him as completely social and active. Now, not so... That guy looks like he used to be in the Navy, okay? If I was to draw up anybody, okay, he just looks like a Jocko Willink with a Bob Barker wig. Like, come on, man. Sanderson's friend tells court brain injuries from the crash altered his personality, lost some of his motivation, his excitement, not enjoyable to be around like Terry used to be because of the fact he's confused a lot. Oh, and he talked about the paranoia, and he's more anxious around people, so you can only take Terry in small doses now. Yo, and that guy used to be at war, so if you know that he can't be around somebody for a little while, he's probably kind of a dick now. Yo, this guy has another daughter, but no sons. Interesting. Okay, so Shay Harith told the court he was extremely fit. This is, yes, Terry, one more time, another daughter, because we heard from Polly on day 2. Yeah, day 2, because I did day 2 and 3 together. Sorry if I mix anything up. So yes, he could do almost anything except for a backflip. But what about your other sister, the testimony? He was very engaged and had a zest for life. Yeah, that sucks. She told how her father's life appears to be exhausting. Fuck. I legitimately feel bad for anybody that has to see their parents deteriorate like that. That's a fate. It's like if you have a family member that goes or anything like that, you just always, you hope, right? You always hope that it's peaceful in the dead of night or, you know, surrounded by loved ones or all that stuff. But to see them just wither away and become a husk of what they used to be, that's, yo, man, that's a fate worse than death. I hate that. I hate that so much. That's the worst way for me to go out. It's right up there with probably being flayed alive. You know, tomato. But yo, now you had another daughter breaking down on the stand. Yo, did you at least apologize for being? Well, you said ass yesterday. Today you could say dick if you want to, you know, stay in that same area, but you want to use, you know, different phrases this time around. Shay Harris said that there's a huge difference between her father now as compared with before the 2016 crash at Deer Valley in Utah. She said he would never be able to run his optometrist office now. Fuck, man. He was not able to complete a task from beginning to end. He gets distracted. I don't know how he survives, actually. That's... Okay, if I'm to play both sides of this and be relatively objective when it comes to this, either this guy is just, with his $300,000 claim, just being the nicest, most civil individual imaginable by just having his medical expenses covered, or he's just looking to run her pockets. Because if he's really this fucked up, if he's legitimately this fucked up, where you have a bunch of different family members, a bunch of different friends, a bunch of different experts coming forward and saying that, yeah, he's actually as fucked up as he's claiming. The fact that he's only asking for $300,000 for a life ruined 6 years prior, and then he's 75, like he could still theoretically have a few decades left in him, and he's only won $300,000. But that also speaks to the fact that an optometrist, if he's running his own office, if he has his own practice, depending on the size and the scope of that place, that could be a 6-digit business, and no joke. It could be a 7 as well if he's in a specific place or not. But anyways, yeah, as you can see, there's a bunch of different snapshots because people are starting to peek the fact that, I mean, she's terrible. Absolutely terrible. But okay, injured doctor describes Paltrow as Godzilla coming towards him before the crash. Okay, Terry Sanderson described Paltrow as like the monster Godzilla when she came towards him at Deer Valley Ski Resort in Utah, the court heard. Paltrow's attorney, Steve Owens, was asking the eldest daughter if she remembered her father making that comment. Harris said she saw a video of Sanderson talking about the crash, where he describes heading down a green run before hearing a scream behind him like Godzilla was coming. Interesting. So from behind him, he's talking about that at the time, and she's trying to allege that it was him that plowed into her. Make that one make sense. I understand that's probably a very difficult thing that you will eventually have to confront as the defense's counsel, but holy shit, can you come up with a better theory? Maybe, potentially, but here we go, man. Here we go. Paltrow is called to the stand. Gwyneth Kate Paltrow Falchuk. Terry Sanderson's lawyers say they will skip over her background due to her high-profile status and get straight to the ski collision at Deer Valley in Utah in 2016. That's where we're going to skip coverage just a little bit because She blames the brain-damaged victim and then thought she was being sexually assaulted in the ski slopes collision. And it's like, yo, man, this bitch is fucking busted, bro. Like, if she already had like a bad imprint on the jury, which you can only peek, right? Because you're not allowed to see the jury, and that's totally fine when it comes to these televised trials. But if she's gonna get up there and start making some crazy ass fucking stories like this isn't in California, okay? Like, I understand there's probably a lot of Californication, a lot of California flight into this area because it's Utah, after all. It's the ski area, and that's where all the entitled folks from NorCal are going to end up going. But at the end of the day, this is Mormon country, so you're going to start making all of these spurious Me Too type allegations, and people are just going to look at you and just slowly put on a baseball cap and really check out your testimony, and especially if you aren't compelling. And they've just heard days and days of testimony that this accident could have only happened and the injuries could have been sustained only under one interpretation of the events that day. So you work your magic, Gwen. You're the actress, after all. Dressed in all black, Paltrow is pushing back at Dr. Terry Sanderson's claim that she negligently rammed into him on the slopes at Deer Valley Resort in Utah and permanently altering the course of his life. I was hit by Mr. Sanderson, and he was at fault. Good one, Pepper. Told the court almost immediately upon taking the stand. Doctor, 76, 76, thought he was 75. I guess I got a little bit of brain damage, but I used to play football and all that shit, so that kind of checks out. Suffered a concussion, broken ribs, blah, blah, blah. He is suing Paltrow for $300,000 in damages, but as an actress, I only want $1, and for him to say sorry, but I know I'll have to write that down because he has brain damage. He can't remember everything at the time. I didn't cause that, though. He did that to himself, and I was allegedly injured. Paltrow has rejected his narrative and counters it. It was Sanderson who caused the accident. Aha, see, I didn't plow into him. He plowed into me. I would have been fine if that goddamn floor wasn't there and I slipped and fell and hit my head. I'm suing the concrete company. This fucking idiot. On the stand, she established herself as an intermediate skier, okay, and said she had been skiing since her childhood. Skiing, like, she's an old bitch, right? So she fitty, okay. Intermediate skier. And you're there, you're all decked out, and your family's there. But I'm just trying to downplay it. I'm just trying to be a little self-deprecating to the jury that is more than likely staring holes directly through me. But don't worry about him. The Academy Award-winning Shakespeare in Love fucking dog shit film star also disputed Sanderson's claim that she did a hit and run and fled the scene following the crash. Paltrow told jurors her ski instructor had told her that he would give Sanderson her information. See, I didn't leave the scene. I just delegated it off to somebody who was in my entourage at the time. You fucking entitled bitch. He said, hey, you should go ski down because my kids were waiting for me, she explained. The kids that were behind you in all of the demonstratives that we've seen. All right, that makes sense. When asked by the plaintiff's lawyer, so this is Sanderson's crew, if she was aware the rules of skiing require her to leave her name and information after the crash, Paltrow said, I'm famous! People fucking know who I am, okay? I already signed up for all this. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think I was aware of the rule. Yo, bitch, it's the same thing if you fucking bump into somebody's vehicle when you're parking, which chances are you've probably done. You leave your information, you leave your contact information, especially if there's been an accident of that magnitude where somebody's, got cracked ribs at the end of the day. For fuck's sakes, man. Like, come on. I would not have left the scene without leaving my information, and my information was left. I have people for that. Paltrow, who punctuated her testimony with sips of Perrier. Oh, I don't got my water with me at this point. We'll get it on Monday. Seemed to have the court gallery wrapped, and at least one juror was smiling during her testimony, despite appearing smug at times. So they're like, this bitch, oh my fucking god. The actress said that she thought someone might be trying to sexually assault her in the immediate aftermath of the crash. This is when I seen this shit, and it's like, you can't be fucking serious at this point in time. Listen, your facts are dog shit at this point in time, so what you're going to try to do? Well, there's a saying among lawyers that are out there, if you have the facts on your side, you pound the facts, pause. If you have the law on your side, you pound the law, pause. And if you have neither, you pound the desk. So guess what she's doing in this case? saying that the desk was pounding her. Sorry, what? But yo, man, just... You can kind of tell, right? As an amateur, legitimately, an amateur body language analyst, rather. She's wearing black. She's got the scraggly blonde hair. It's like, you're an actress. You know how to fucking look good if you want to look good, but then you also want to look beaten down if that's the way that you want to do it. If you want to say that, oh man, this trial, you know, I got my family coming in and having to testify for me. I'm having this guy trying to run my pockets. I'm an intermediate skier up there on the hill. This guy's been lying on my name, and, you know, it's been a dark cloud over my family for 6 years. And all I can do is just afford some faded black tunic, and I couldn't even be bothered to do my hair today. And it's like, oh my God, did you guys not see the snow that's outside? That's crazy for this time of year. Like, it's an act. It's like it's an act there, Pepper. Come on. I was skiing, and 2 skis came between my skis, forcing my legs apart. Pause. And then there was a body pressing against me. But, okay, 2 skis between your 2 skis. That's interesting, right? Because if you're turning, and this guy's, he's trying to get the fuck out of the way. He's trying to get out of the way. Why would, okay, because like I said before, like, I haven't been skiing all that often, but I know that you keep your feet shoulder width apart. Gwyneth she's not even close to approximating my size. So to say that there was going to be 2 more skis in between your skis, you're talking about, at best, 2 feet of room in between, at best. And if you're making a big old turn or something like that. And we're on a green hill, not a black hill, not a black diamond hill, not a double black diamond hill, a green hill. So not very many obstructions on the path itself, fairly wide open. So you're telling me, out of few hundred feet, this guy managed to thread the needle with bad eyesight, mind you, is what you're alleging. Thread the needle to the point where he could go all the way through your kids that were uphill, your entourage that was surrounding you, but directly through you. Okay. But yes, she can remember all of this stuff after like a high-speed attack where this guy was just cooking down the hill, to the point where simultaneously, yes, he could thread that needle and not notice anybody in front of him, plow directly into her, but she can remember every situation here where there was a body pressed against me, the ski positions were right in between, and then there was a very strange grunting noise, so my brain was trying to make sense of what was happening. So even if there was a strange grunting noise, like, this guy cracked some ribs, so all of a sudden, I think he's gasping for air, not trying to get off on your stick-like figure. What the fuck are you doing? I thought, is this a practical joke? If you got hit, holy fuck, man. It's like if you're out for a run and then you get tackled by somebody. Just significantly colder and significantly less anticipated. This just gives a wonderful insight into her mind. She is her own mental point of origin, to the point where it's detrimental to reality, if we're going to be completely honest. Oh, okay, cool. Yo, I got hit or something. I seem to be fine. There's a guy gasping and grunting for air instead of wondering if everybody's okay. Oh my God, is this a practical joke? Have I been like sexually assaulted or like something? Is someone like doing something perverted? This is really, really strange. My mind is going very, very quickly. A lot of repeating adjectives. It's almost like somebody's making up a story. I'm just saying. And I was trying to ascertain what was happening. Well, there's one ass. Actually, there was one self-admitted ass yesterday. There's another one on the stand right now, she continued. Sanderson was groaning and grunting in a very disturbing way. He had broken fucking ribs and a concussion. And this bitch is laughing because even she knows her story's total cap. Our bodies were almost spooning. I moved away quickly. After you've been hearing days and days of emotional testimony, just a few minutes before, this dude's daughter is up on the stand crying because his life has been irreparably changed, and you're up there going, it's all funny. Fucking bitch. Sanderson's a lawyer. Kristen Van Orman. Oh, okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense that you'd have a woman doing the cross-examination, because that all checks out. Or I guess was this direct? Okay. Then attempted to reenact the 2016 crash, and even tried to have both Paltrow and Sanderson help her recreate the moment the two collided, which the judge nixed. Yeah, I was going to say, is this like a total fucking clown show? Like, the testimony in and of itself is just absolutely absurd, but if you were to have it, oh my God, just have both of the parties reenact it in public, like, That's a big ask, man. I'm sure you're probably savvy enough to, I don't know, maybe grab one of the junior prosecutors that are back there, one of your research assistants, and just try to have her describe the scenario. That would have been a good play, because see if she could go ahead and illustrate any incongruencies with her story as to the facts that were presented from the previous experts. That would have been my style, but I don't know. Maybe this was just one of those, okay, somebody came up with a harebrained scheme, and it's like, okay, fine, Barry, we'll fucking try to ask him. And it's like, see, nothing happened. The exchanges between Paltrow and Van Orman turned testy, which is probably what you like from somebody who's been bitchy and complaining about, oh, there's so much media coverage. I gotta be up here in fucking Utah in this time of year. Don't you know it snows on occasion? Somebody who's trying to buy the sympathy of the management is like, okay, cool. If she gets snippy in these exchanges, yo, man, your side's going to look even more sympathetic. Okay, so after Paltrow said, Mr. Sanderson categorically hit me on that skis. Oh, you know somebody's pissed when they're using a $5 word like categorically instead of just saying, Mr. Sanderson hit me on the ski slope. But no, he categorically hit me. So somebody's been rehearsing their script. Which, shout out to her, she won an Oscar for a reason on that ski slope. And that is the truth, the lawyer responded. And I'm sure that's what you believe. Because it is the truth. That's fantastic. During a recess, Van Orman told the judge that Paltrow lied under oath a number of times. Yo, shout out. During a short time that she had been on the stand, eliciting a massive gasp from the actress. Well, of course, man. It's like the jury's not there. You don't have to keep up the charade the entire time, you self-entitled bitch. Your Honor, that is slanderous. I want it withdrawn this moment. Paltrow's lawyer shot back. Van Orman apologized to Paltrow shortly after and recanted her statement. That's also tactical as well, especially if they were snippy in front of the jury and then she just decides to poke the bear outside of the presence of the jury. Ooh, buddy. Get her all up in her old lady feelings. Paltrow countersued Sanderson, but is only seeking $1 in legal fees from him. Well, legal fees, given the size of her law team, it's going to be pretty substantial. Let's just say that. So that whole $1, that's just the facade that's put out there. Likely this is probably approaching, if we're going to be completely honest, if they've been going back and forth on this for a while, in on and around $500,000. I mean, that's what it's going to be. The 8 jurors and 2 alternates in Utah's 3rd District Court are hearing directly from Paltrow for the first time since the trial started Tuesday. It's supposed to go 8 days. It could be longer, more than likely going to be longer because these things never, ever, ever stick to schedule, but we'll at least have a few more days of coverage. Throughout the week, she has sat in court waiting for her time to defend herself. It sounds like she's doing a fantastic job. 2 children, Moses and Apple. Right, she was married to the Coldplay singer. What just a detestable couple. Like Coldplay, one of the most notoriously unliked, and if people do like them, you gotta say it in hushed tones, band, and probably the orchestrators of one of the lowest energy Super Bowl halftime shows. And like I've stated before, but sometimes you have to repeat the obvious, one of the most generally unlikable people in all of Hollywood. And then she gets snippy up there on the stand, especially when they bring up the fact that, oh yeah, you have a relationship with Taylor Swift, right? And here we go, just a little bit of recap on that. Paltrow was then grilled over her friendship with Taylor Swift. It's like, oh, you got hoe friends? Oh, that's a red flag. Who was awarded a symbolic $1 in damages in her 2017. Again, Daily Mail copy editor, for Christ's sakes. After she won her case against the Denver DJ accused of groping her. She told the court, I would not say we're good friends. We're friendly. Who the fuck cares at the end of the day, okay? It's like birds of a feather, our old withery blondes together, okay? I've taken my kids to her concert once, but we don't speak very often. How many weasel words can you pack together in one statement? We're not good friends, we're friendly. Okay, so you're self-snitching on the fact that you guys at least know each other. I've taken my kids to one of her concerts. Did you go backstage? Did you guys hang around? Did you get some pictures? I would imagine you follow each other on Instagram. In cross-examination, Paltrow said that she feels sorry for Sanderson's injuries. I'm sorry you broke your ribs when you plowed into me, but I didn't have any damage because at 44 years old and because I take good care of myself and I like to meditate around my vagina candles. That means me at like 95 fucking pounds.
if a full-grown man plows into me, I'm literally... didn't you know I have an Iron Man suit, and I was wearing it as I was going down the hill, so what the fuck do you think that he could do against me? I'm sorry you feel that way with your busted dome, dude. And, yeah. She talked about her father, Bruce, who died in 2002. Well, he punched out early. At age 58 and spoke how he... yeah, who gives a shit at the end of the day? Okay. Paltrow smiled when she was reminded that witness Craig Ramone believed she had been skiing with that Coldplay guy when she was on vacation with her now husband, Brad Falchuk. Oh, so she was also cheating on that dude at the time? Yo, thank God I'm not a juror in this case. Well, because I've been kind of open and honest with my biases beforehand, but kind of looks like the evidence is really on the Sanderson side, and if she's being snippy on the stand, well, let's just say the deck is stacked against her. Kind of like with that pseudo supermodel walk and the anterior inflection in her pelvic bone there, or she just has really uncomfortable shoes that require... No, she's just wearing Doc Martens, you fucking weirdo. But again, also noticing just the lack of people in the courthouse, unless that changes on Monday, it's just the unpopularity of this trial. It's odd in a very, very strange way, because again, I was looking at any of the coverage that's out there and just it's a vapid landscape. But because that's the case, and I am a man of opportunity after all, I'll continue to cover this. And like I said, I'm gonna go back and try to fill in some gaps if we missed anything, do a little recap on Monday. Otherwise, we'll be continuing with the trial coverage then. And as for tomorrow, if you guys are sticking around on this one, very, very strongly believe that I'll be doing this stream tomorrow on the Ron DeSantis Piers Morgan trial. Probably make a post about it and probably advertise it so that, you know, you guys know when I'm going to be going live. I'm thinking locally for me it'll be about 7, so that'll put it 6 Pacific and 9 out east, so you can adjust things as you will, but that's just the thought process right now. If things change on that one, you guys will be the first ones to know, because hey, I want to cover that shit. It looks hilarious. It's about 54 minutes long, the entire uncut interview. There's going to be some gems in that one. So if I'm going to be covering it and I'm going to be breaking it down, might as well involve everybody and bring y'all in. We can have a fun time about it on a Saturday evening. Sounds good? And if not, you can watch a replay. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.